Evil pirates, yes, they rob us. Sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took I from the bottomless pit. But my hands was made strong by the hands of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing not a song of freedom? It's 'cause all I ever had, don't you know? Redemption song. These songs of freedom, yeah, is all I ever had. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing not a song of freedom? It's 'cause all I ever had. Redemption songs. These songs of freedom. It's all I ever had. Thanks, Tucson. You guys have been so good. You're running and you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. Can't run away from yourself, no, no. Every man thinks his burden is the heaviest. Every man thinks his burden is the heaviest. Who feels it knows you know. Who feels it knows you know. 'Cause you're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. Can't run away from yourself, no, 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 brethren. Said you try to run on, then you try to run east. You turn for south for some relief. Then you go for the east, 'cause you miss it. Running and you're running away. You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running away. You're running and you're running, but you can't run away from yourself. You must have done something wrong. something wrong. That's why you can't find a place where you belong. Why you can't find a home where you belong. You're coming to tell me now, you're coming to tell me that I'm doing wrong, that I'm trying to get away, that I'm trying to run away, but I'm not running away. I'm not running away.
We want to discuss a little bit more about medical marijuana, of course, because that's what the show is about. And one of the things I think that we should do is, you're talking about this tug-of-war going on. So let's encourage everybody to contact their local elected official and tell them that they want a useful medical marijuana law, because you're talking about how that tug-of-war, we all know that it can be messed up in the details or saved in the details. So let your local official know that you want a useful medical marijuana law so that those that need it as medicine can get it. And with that in mind, John, let's talk a little bit more about those in need and what they might be able to do.
Yeah, so we are really focused on patients, these people we've been talking about with really severe conditions, being able to get quality medicine. You know, it's so important for the medicine to be organic and safe. We've all seen marijuana that's squashed into a tight little brick. That's not how marijuana is designed to come. It should be a fluffy, fresh looking item, really, and in order to be safe for patients. Organic is really, really important. And you know, the type of ways that people have to sneak marijuana around sometimes are not safe, packed into a tire or something like that. So we've got to really make sure that safe medicine is available to the patients. Marijuana patients with certain conditions find out what strains, what types of marijuana really benefit them.
Yes, yes.
And that's what's so important about Prop 203 is now patients will be able to get a consistent supply of that medicine. If you find a type of marijuana that helps your condition, you should be able to get that every single time.
Just like a pharmaceutical, but of course it's natural, but the same kind of astringent, like, or if I want burdock root, you know, there's in herbs and stuff, there's various kinds and things that I look for when I go, and on a more controlled level, one would deserve that. And that makes sense that it would really increase the amount of usefulness, and plus safety, because when something's underground, it's simply not safe. And if you have somebody that has cancer and they're struggling to survive, you want them to get safe medicine. You don't want them to die from the cancer because there was something wrong with the marijuana.
Certainly, that is definitely true, and I hope the viewers would know that in addition to smoking marijuana, you can also consume marijuana in edibles. So if you have a patient that's not able to smoke, and they could respond favorably to marijuana in edibles, you just have to be cautious about the dose. It's harder to control the dose when you eat marijuana. Whereas when you smoke marijuana, the effects are known to you almost immediately. With eating it, it can take up to 30 minutes or an hour for a patient to feel the effects.
And just like you've said, people deserve to have a choice. They deserve to be able to choose, and if they feel that that's a good medicine for them, they should be able to, even if on a regulated level, get it. And an example of that is a doctor can prescribe you cocaine. I remember one guy at church I was at, actually, one time many years ago, talking about that he was given cocaine for his condition during his operation, and it made perfect sense as to why. And so if something like that can be prescribed on a controlled level, then surely marijuana should be able to, especially with some of the stories. I'm convinced simply because I look at the person, they tell me the story, and then I become convinced. It's just simple as that. It's won me over as far as it's useful for medicine.
Certainly, you know, and not everyone responds to marijuana. We're not saying that. Not everybody with certain conditions will respond to marijuana, but it does need to be a tool, a treatment that is available to people, whether they choose to rely on that treatment or whether they're trying it as a last-ditch effort to help their problem. Marijuana is useful to many people, and we want to just make sure that this program, Prop 203, is implemented in a safe, rapid, but reasonable manner.
And one more thing that you touched on, I want to retouch on, is that I know that people have told me many times that they feel their loved one was because of eating, being able to eat, not being able to eat, not eating at all, and then eating and then gaining weight and looking a lot better, that I would say that marijuana very well, the data will eventually prove it as we study it, but marijuana may have saved a lot of lives, especially with cancer patients, because if they don't eat, they're going to die. And I believe it has saved some lives.
Well, I would agree totally. And with cancer patients, you have a lot of pain, and the instinct of doctors is to give them opioid pain medicines, Percocet or OxyContin. Well, what that does is that suppresses your appetite. It bogs down your system, slows down your digestive system. And when you have cancer and can't eat already, that can be life-threatening to have that system slow down. Marijuana does not affect those systems. In fact, it will stimulate appetite in many patients, help them eat, but it doesn't interact with other medications or with those systems. It doesn't have a negative effect on those, like our other treatments that are available.
Right. And plus, with the people that have to take a lot of opiates for pain, they often use marijuana so that they take less opiates, so they're more aware and they enjoy life more. Because when you take a lot of opiates for pain, you can be vegetable, and people just they don't like it, and they want to be there. They want to be alive and in the world and understand who's sitting next to them.
You make such a good point. I don't think people realize that happens a lot, is that patients reduce the amount of opiates. They don't stop the amount of opiates, but they're able to reduce it to a level that reduces many of the side effects associated with the opiates, from a zombie-like feeling to constipation, to many of the other negative side effects associated with those.
So, what is the one thing that you would like to tell everybody that about your personal endeavor in this, and what's the one thing what's your one gift for everybody?
Well, that's a really great question, Carl. You know, I just hope that everybody would take out of this the fact that we need to work to help each other. We need to get out there and speak up when there's an injustice. We need to work for the causes that we believe in. You know, none of our paid members of this organization. You know, we don't draw salaries. We are passionate about this subject because it has helped us, or because it has helped those we love. We've seen it work, and we've become so passionate about this that we had to get out there and vocalize it and get our message out there. And I would encourage that people take from this the fact that we need everyone to get up and make that call to your politician, or write that letter about that issue that you care about, that you believe in. You know, get involved with the system. I know politics can be discouraging sometimes, and we feel like our vote doesn't make a difference, but it really does. It really does. Some of these races are won by just 100 votes, if that. We look at this medical marijuana, Prop 203, if it wasn't for every single person getting out there to vote, we wouldn't have won. It was so close.
It was so close.
And that's what I want people to draw from this, that we need every single vote. We need every one of you to get out and make a difference. It is so critical, so critical.
I agree.
So speaking of getting the word out and vote out on issues you feel passionate about, when it comes to the issues such as prison reform, drug laws, and marijuana laws, the conservative stance seems to be moving more in the direction John and I have been talking about. As an example of this, I have a video clip of Pat Robertson, founder of the 700 Club, stating these changes that are sweeping that way. Though I disagree with Pat Robertson completely on many issues, I do feel that in his own mind, he feels his ideas are genuinely for the greater good. A lot of people have been giving Pat Robertson a hard time about this and heckling him and such. I feel people should embrace him for being brave enough to say what he feels on these issues, knowing what would come. If you feel he is on target, put some differences aside and move forward with that. So let's check out this video that's been all over YouTube and getting quite a stir.
Well, welcome to the 700 Club. Conservatives think, lock them up, take away parole, throw away the key, and let's have more prisons. Well, the truth is we're spending probably more on prisons than we are on education. America has more people locked up than I think any other country per capita in the world, and it is not improving one bit. And we've offered some solutions along the way, and others are too, and now some conservatives are changing their tune.
Well, they really are. You know, that whole concept of lock them up and throw away the key is kind of going out the window, that philosophy not working. Instead, they're campaigning to fix the system with faith as a focus. Here's Paul Strand.
These conservative leaders have realized billions of dollars can be saved getting smart on crime rather than just tough on crime.
Save money and keep the public safer.
Pat Nolan of Prison Fellowship says the prison system now costs $68 billion a year, up 400% in the last 25 years, while America's population is up only 5%.
We could probably save on the $4 or $5 billion, and we would be safer.
There are some states now that are spending as much money building prisons as they are educating their children.
Texas has been leading the way in reforms conservatives can embrace.
We have saved billions of dollars. Crime rate has gone down 9%, and we've improved public safety.
These conservatives are launching a campaign called Right on Crime to educate state leaders about proven reforms like those in Texas. These can be seen at their new website, rightoncrime.com. Solutions range from using more community programs like drug rehab and taking crimes off the books that aren't really crimes. The prison system left to its own devices sees 50% of its freed prisoners right back within 3 years, a 50% failure rate. These conservatives say that's unconscionable. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Thanks, Paul. You know, it got to be a big deal in campaigns. He's tough on crime, lock them up, you know. And that's the way these guys ran, and they got elected. But that wasn't the answer.
It really isn't working. And you know, in the end, they're going back out into society, sure. Most of them. It's a wonderful opportunity for the church to lead the way, for them to have restored lives, and you know, that is working. It's a proven commodity.
You know, at one time, we had probably the largest prison ministry in America with CBN, and we did it with video, and the response was huge. Those men and women want to know the Lord, but there's something else we've got to recognize. We're locking up people that take a couple of puffs of marijuana, and the next thing you know, they got 10 years. They've got mandatory sentences, and these judges just say, they throw up their hands and say, nothing we can do, there's mandatory sentences. We've got to take a look at what we're considering crimes, and that's one of them. I mean, I'm not exactly for the use of drugs. Don't get me wrong, but I just believe that criminalizing marijuana, criminalizing the possession of a few ounces of pot and that kind of thing. I mean, it's costing us a fortune, and it's ruining young people. Young people go into prisons. They come out. They go in as youths, and they come out as hardened criminals, and that's not a good thing.
Exactly.
So that is Pat Robertson and his very bold and brave statements. I suggest listening to him again on YouTube and ask yourself, what are the depths of what he is saying? I think that he's saying that small amounts of drugs on a person should not be handled as a major crime. So moving right along.
So that's basically it in a nutshell. We're just on a recap. We talked about medical marijuana, and that it seems like it saves lives. It helps people take less opiates for pain, which makes them more aware, more able to enjoy quality of life. Proposition 203 is passed, and now we're in the part where it's wrangling back and forth. There's a lot of little different things going on, and those little different things are going to make or break it. So like John said, contact your elected local official. Also, if you have a loved one who was positively affected by medical marijuana, all the more reason for you to get out your pen and paper or contact your local official. All right, John, let's say goodbye because the music is going to take us out. So We loved you. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll enjoy music for the rest of the show. Thank you, everybody, for being a part and listening. And
So